We're on. We're back again.
Back again. It's been a while.
It's been a long while, hasn't it? It's been many weeks, actually.
Yeah.
So if you've been listening to these episodes like sequentially, like one after another, then this is going to be a bit weird for us and for you. Because episode 4, the last episode that we recorded, was like quite a few weeks ago. We've had quite a long break, haven't we?
Yeah, that was in France, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The last time we recorded. And well, now we've been back in Sweden for a month.
We have. We've been back.
A month.
Yeah, we've been back in Sweden for quite a few weeks, haven't we? And obviously, because we haven't been releasing these podcast episodes like week by week yet, we took a little bit of time off from doing it because we've had so much else on.
Yeah. It's been intense to
Yeah.
come back.
It has, hasn't it? We got thrown in at the deep end, didn't we?
Yeah.
Getting back to Sweden. Like we'd lived the island life, hadn't we, for quite a few weeks.
Yeah.
And then even so, like when we were in Spain and stuff, we'd taken it really nice and easy.
Yeah.
Even though we'd been working at the same time.
It's a different thing because it was only us. We only had to care about what we were doing and no other obligations. Like work, yes, of course, but that's something that we always got with us. But as soon as you get home, then it's all of these other things that come into your life as well. Like you need to, well, for me it was doctor's appointments, and then it was the kids who wants to go to playgroup and they want to meet with friends, and we want to meet friends and we want to meet family. Like, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but all of a sudden you got so much on, so many things that like is a stress factor really in the end. And when you're not being used to it, it becomes a lot, don't it?
Yeah, it definitely does. Especially with stuff like, the kids going to playgroup and things like that. It seems like such a nice thing, and it's like so nice and sociable for the kids, and it is. But like for us, both you and me come out of there like feeling like we've been beat up, don't we, half the time? Like mentally just like, drained for the rest of the day. And obviously yours is down to, you're still recovering from chemo, aren't you? That's one of the most common side effects from chemo that they say that can last for ages, almost years, isn't it?
Up to 10 years, I think somebody said.
Yeah, that you can be like dealing with brain fog, I guess, and stuff.
Exactly, and that's what, especially for me, it feels like it's a lot when we got back. Because even if it's a lot of fun things, it's having so many like balls in the air, having so much going on at the same time. Like my brain can't deal with that anymore, and we've not been used to it. Like when we were away, I felt like we were getting better. Or I was getting better, and I was like, I don't feel brain foggy at all, almost. And then we just realized, like, oh, wait, we removed everything that caused so much brain fog.
Yeah, exactly. Including, like, travelling at that point. You know, like how we were in Tenerife. It was, like we've said before, it was an hour from the top of the island to the bottom.
Yeah.
So is there a bird sat right outside the door? I wasn't going to say it in this episode, because I've said it in the last 4, but we're not in a studio.
We're not in a studio.
No, we're sat in our van right now for the first time recording in Sweden, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a bird decided to just plonk itself right outside our door and sing.
Sounds like it, at least. I don't know if the mics will pick it up, but if you can hear it, that's what it is.
Enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
Swedish bird.
You're out in nature, mate. Enjoy it. So we got cut off a little bit there, but it's probably a good time to, I don't know, introduce the podcast. Maybe. It feels like, for us, because it's been like a few weeks since we've done it, it does feel like starting again a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A little bit. And we sort of are starting again in a way, because now this is the first podcast we're recording where we've officially got a name.
Yeah.
We are called...
Life on a Stick.
Life on a Stick. Yeah, officially welcome to the Life on a Stick podcast.
Yeah.
That sounds good, doesn't it?
Well, we think so.
We think so. It fits us.
Yeah, it does.
So, obviously, for you guys listening, it's a little bit weird because you already know what the podcast is called.
Yeah, like, what on earth are you talking about? Of course we know what this is.
We clicked on it. Of course we know.
Yeah.
Of course we know
It's
what your
like
podcast is called.
4th episode.
Yeah, but you obviously knew before we did. So,
yeah.
Yes, Life on a Stick. It felt good, didn't it, when we came up with that? It felt right. it's translated from a Swedish saying, isn't it?
Yeah.
Livet på en pinne, life on a stick.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially it means to live life a little bit carefree.
Yeah.
Live life to the max. Not always, like, doesn't mean you need to go skydiving every day. But
Or does it?
in our case, no.
Oh, yeah.
But it means to live life sort of to a person who's living life to the fullest, regardless of sort of what's going on around them.
Yeah.
That guy, that's like, he's got his life on a stick.
Yeah.
And sort of like it surrounds our whole like mindset after the whole cancer battle, doesn't it? A little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it just felt right when we came up with it. So there
It
you go.
did.
That's the name of the podcast and why it's called that. I thought it was really nice.
It is nice. It fits us quite good, I think.
I think it does as well. Yeah. So I think it's nice that it's a Swedish thing, but it works so well in English.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks very much for tuning in once again. And I'll just take a minute at the beginning now of this one to just say, click the follow button wherever you're listening, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Click the little follow button or the subscribe button or whatever, because obviously with us just starting out, it really does help.
Yeah, very much so.
So it'd be massively appreciated.
Yes.
And much more fun, interesting content to come, especially now in video form.
Ooh.
So if you've been listening to us on YouTube or whatever, if you've come from YouTube, then it might be a little bit better for you because you can now see us. Hello. And if you're listening to us somewhere else, then it's not going to affect you. So just ignore that bit.
Then you're missing out.
Yeah, but this will be available in video form on YouTube and maybe on Spotify.
Yeah.
Not worked that one out yet, but probably at some
One
point.
day.
One day at some point. So
Maybe already. Yeah, but also if you are just listening to us, you're not missing out too much. I'm sat here like an old lady with my blanket on because I'm cold and
Yeah. You're sat huddled up in the middle of June.
Sadly, it's needed.
It is, isn't it? It's shocking. Like, I think we've been punished because we've had our summer in the winter. It does feel like mid-autumn a little bit, though,
It
doesn't
does feel like autumn, yeah, it does.
It's raining every day at the moment.
Yeah, that's Sweden for you.
It is Sweden. You never know, do you?
No.
Even into June, it can be whatever.
Mm-hmm. So a couple of episodes ago, we said, let's start from the beginning and tell the story of how we moved into the van and how we decided that. And then that episode ended up being about me being in the hospital just before we moved out.
Yeah.
So why don't we try again? And don't have your hopes up.
So I suppose it all comes down to like mindset, doesn't it? It comes down to like what possessed us to sell our house and move into our van with two small humans on board. Because it's like, you know, Dave and John living through life, get up, go to work at the call centre, have their lunch.
Dave and John, are they a couple?
No, they're just two people that I just made
I
up.
just wanted to know what the story was about.
They go to work at the call centre, they have their lunch, they get home at 6 o'clock, they play with the kids for an hour. That guy, both of those guys, they're not thinking about selling up, moving into a van, whatever.
Well, we don't know.
We don't know, Dave and John, but most... what I'm trying to say... Shall I just fucking start that one again? What I'm trying to say is most people, your average person... Shut up, all right? Your average...
Sorry, that tickled me.
Your average Dave is not thinking about packing up his family, selling his house that he's probably worked quite hard for, and moving in to a tiny little van and all the challenges that come along with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how did we get here? Why are we here?
Because we're stupid.
Well, there's that, yeah, to be honest. That's it. Stop the podcast. Finished. We're done. Case closed.
Joking, obviously. Yeah, why are we here, really? To be honest.
Yeah.
Do you know?
No, it sort of unravelled in like a long series of events, didn't it?
Yeah.
That, I suppose you could say it started with our love for camping and being outdoors, and the fact that before we had kids, we'd go camping. And then when the kids came along, we were really sort of intent on having this mindset that we can carry on doing stuff.
Yeah.
We can carry on doing the same stuff that we did before kids, just with the kids on board sort of thing.
Yeah, and that's why we started the YouTube channel, to show people that you can still live and be outdoors and do fun things even though you got kids.
Yeah.
That's what our like intention was.
It was the whole
Wait,
mantra
yeah.
at the beginning, wasn't it? Yeah. And then that sort of evolved into us getting a van, naturally. We always wanted a van. It was just that we couldn't afford it for for years, really.
Yeah.
This van, we were never going to live in it, were we, to start with, when we first bought it?
No.
Not really. And then it became a bit of a shining light, didn't it, when you were sick, that we spent as much time in it as we could while you were sort of recovering from chemo and whatever.
Yeah.
And we sort of fell in love with it more and more and wanted to spend all the time in the van, didn't we?
Yeah. Like, I can remember, I don't know if it was before we bought this van when we were looking, or it was like when we bought it but not been to pick it up yet. And I was saying like, oh, I half fancy living in a van. And I remember it because I was like, oh, I'm not set on it. And I'm like, it's not my biggest dream in the world. I'm not going to be disappointed if we don't live in it. But I got a feeling I want to live in it. And like we had decided to sell the house before I got sick. And then we paused it throughout treatment and everything because we can't move throughout a cancer battle. Like it's just impossible. And as soon as we were done with all treatment and surgeries and everything, we just said like we don't want to live in this house anymore. Like definitely we had decided to move, but even less we want to live here now. It only feels like cancer. This house only represents cancer, illness and bad memories.
Yeah. Every room in that house was a different part of cancer, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just
like
breathing.
Chemotherapy. The bedroom smelled like chemotherapy somehow. And the office that I used to work in was just great. Even though it was the brightest room, we had mountains painted on the wall because it was Charlie's old room. It was a beautiful room.
Yeah.
Every time I walked into that room, it was grey and miserable. Yeah. Even when the sun was shining, it was like, we had to get out of there, didn't we? And we'd already, like you said, we'd already decided on moving out. But before you got sick, the plan was to move to a sort of bigger plot of land, wasn't it? Yeah. Maybe even a smaller house or the same sized house, but we wanted land because we'd become really like interested in being a bit more self-sustainable. And we got really into like wanting to grow our own stuff and having a space where we can have, well, eventually the ideas evolved into like proper farmland sort of thing. Yeah. A small sort of farmland area.
It was while I was in the hospital.
Yeah.
When I was on a lot of medication. Might have been a lot of morphine.
Yeah.
And I was watching this Swedish TV show.
Help, We Bought a Farm.
Yeah. And like, I can't remember all of it. Like when we've been watching it back again, like together, I'm like, oh, I've not seen this episode, but obviously I have. But just I was so high that I can't remember it. And I was like texting you from the hospital. I was like, we need to buy cows. We need a chicken. We need to do this. Like, look at this from this minute to these minutes, and look what they're doing. They're building something there. I want to build that. We need this.
Yeah, even to the point where it was like cultivation techniques. It was like, and it doesn't matter. Oh, maybe we're not going to be able to plant in the ground, but we'll just build these trays where you can grow cucumbers. Yeah. Great. We live in a rod house. What is that in English? We live in like a terrace house at the moment. You had some great ideas when you were on drugs.
I know. I'm quite bright when I'm a lot brighter when I'm on drugs.
Weirdly, I wouldn't say bright. Maybe bright is the wrong word. But
I'm a lot more intelligent.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, even the van's name. Oh, yeah. You named the van in a bloody weird chemo dream, didn't you? You woke up and you'd named the van in the dream. And
exactly. I'm telling you, I'm a lot more intelligent on drugs.
You're more creative. That's it, mate. Still got some morphine left in the back. And see what you can cook up.
Like in the end, if you just think one step extra, it was that we wanted to live more free. Yeah. That was the main thing. We didn't want to be stuck in a terrace house with neighbors on each side where you can't let your kids out because it's big roads right next to you and you need to keep an eye on them all the time. You get no freedom, they get no freedom. you can't grow anything, you can't do anything, because then you have to ask the people who actually owns the land your house is on. And it was just so many things where it was like, we just want a bit of freedom.
Yeah.
And we wanted it with a smaller house. You don't have to spend that much in your house, but we would love to spend many hours outside to fix up the garden and wherever you will grow and animals or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the idea. Yeah, you're right. It was about freedom and about spending more time outdoors, because that's what we loved. And we ended up being away from the house more than maybe we would have done if we'd have had a bit more outside area.
Yeah.
Like, we ended up packing up and going away. Do you know what I mean? Going and doing stuff somewhere else, whereas maybe we would have probably fancied just pottering around in the garden and, you know, going and tending to the crops and whatever. And then, somewhere along the journey of battling cancer, it came a mindset shift, didn't it? Like, where our whole perspective, or I say our, like I talk for you a lot when I talk about stuff like this, but at least my whole perspective changed on so many different things. And to the point where we went, right, well, Charlie's going to start school in a few years. We've got a few years to do essentially what we want. We're not locked into one place, because we'd said sort of from quite early on that we didn't really want to homeschool Charlie.
Yeah.
So we always knew that once he starts school, we're going to be locked into a place, and that's just how it is. And then the sort of decision came to move into the van.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I don't know exactly what it was that made us go from a house to the van. But I think, again, it's about freedom. And that we had this beautiful van that was like completely functional to actually live in. And to feel that extra freedom after being so locked inside. Because for me, I was locked inside for like a year.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't leave the house when I was on treatment. I was feeling so poorly that I could not be outside, basically. I think I would still feel very sick even if we moved into another house.
Yeah.
But breaking all routines, like breaking completely free from everything and start traveling and leave all the sickness behind. I think that was the appealing thing, that what we wanted to do was just to leave.
Yeah. Just to get the out.
Yeah.
Just to leave cancer behind for a little bit.
Yeah.
And actually, that's pretty much what happened. It felt like that, didn't it?
Yeah.
When we were away, it was like we didn't have any of that to think about.
No, exactly. We didn't. Like, obviously, as a cancer patient or survivor, or I don't know where to place myself yet.
Yeah.
You always got things that reminds you of cancer. It's all like every single day is something that reminds me of that I've had cancer. But it wasn't as obvious. Like, when we were at home before we left, we still had help basically every single day with most things.
Yeah.
And maybe not because we needed it in the end, but we were in that routine of people asking, can we come and help? Can we help you with this? And because we ended up staying so much close to mum and dad's, at mum and dad's, that everything just kept rolling as it was when I was really sick. And it didn't have to be like that. And then it was nice to break that pattern completely and just get the fuck out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it became a sort of natural cycle. And yeah, you're absolutely right. It was really nice to break everything, to draw a line under that whole chapter almost and start the next phase sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, looking back, it was the best decision, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, no doubt the best decision. Because I still struggle to be outside when it's cold because of the neuropathy in my hands and my feet. And I just really struggle to be outside. It don't matter how much clothes I got on or how many layers I got on. I still get really cold and it hurts a lot. And to just leave that behind was also such a relief, because otherwise, I think I would have felt the same throughout this winter as well, where I was sick and I can't be outside and I can't join in. I would just have been inside the house or inside the van and like a little bit left behind because I can't join in. And that was the whole feeling of being sick. The whole year of being sick was feeling like I can't join in. I'm left behind and everybody else just keeps living.
Yeah.
So it just felt really nice to be able to go and just live, to be honest, because that's all we've been doing. We've just been spending time together as a family and just living. And I think it's a lot of people who could do with that time together, but I don't wish anybody to need that sickness to have the realization of this is what you need as a family, or this is what you need as just a person, is to have a break from reality. Or what do you say? Yeah.
No, exactly. Like for us, we got a kick up the arse because, of cancer. We got it absolutely slapped around our faces that life is short and the unexpected can come at any time.
Yeah.
But it'd be really nice if people could somehow get inspired to go and do it without having that slap in the face.
Yeah, exactly. And even there, like I think my side of selling the house and moving into a van and go travel, the reason is probably darker than yours.
Right. Okay.
Like, because I feel like you got, like you've been saying, like your mindset switched and you were like, I want to go out and live, and we don't, like, life is short, and you just feel like you just see life a bit more clear.
Yeah.
But for me, it's almost like I want to live every day because I don't know if I get to live tomorrow. And I don't think that's how you think.
That's not how I think, no. God, it's dark, that is.
Yeah, but it's also, like, I don't think that I would actually die tomorrow.
No.
But you kind of understand what I mean, though.
Yeah.
Like, because a lot of the time when I went through the cancer battle, I didn't really realize how sick I was, because I think it must be like a coping thing that your brain pushes that away, that you don't think that you're actually dying, even though you got a disease that could kill you.
Yeah.
But like afterwards, I'm like, yeah, I'm lucky to be where I am today. But that doesn't promise me anything for tomorrow, because we don't know when or if the cancer is coming back. But it could just be anything. Like, honestly, you could be hit by a car tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then you're not there anymore.
Yeah.
And I know that it sounds really, really dark, but it also gives me, a lot of the time, it also gives me a perspective of, do you have to appreciate what you got?
Yeah.
Like, so many things that could be a problem, if you make it a problem, that isn't a problem.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I feel like it's
100%.
just, I'm just rambling, but...
Yeah, but I know exactly what you mean, though. But I think we have got the same sort of vision, and we've got the same sort of mindset in the end. It's just that we probably get there in different ways. It's like mine, yeah, okay, it's not quite as dark, but it is the same thing. It is, you don't know what's coming round the corner tomorrow.
Yeah. But what we were trying to say,
That's what I was just
instead of making life dark for everybody, is that something big like this does make your mindset change. Like, we've been saying it before. I don't know if we've been saying it here on the podcast or just on YouTube, but we've been talking about it so many times before, where it's like, how can you feel like it's meaningful to get up very early in the morning, go to a job where you don't really enjoy it? You just go because, well, you're used to it. It's what you do. You need to go to work in the morning, get up really early, leave your kids at preschool, come back really late, barely get dinner time, bath time, bedtime, and then it just goes on like that. And you don't see your kids or your family in the weeks, and then you get 2 days a week where you have to cram everything in.
Yeah.
Like food shopping, cleaning, kids seeing family, kids seeing friends.
Yeah. A lot of time recovery from work as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a day. You know, if you've had a busy week, it feels like it takes you a day to get back into the rhythm of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
you
exactly.
haven't got that time. And this is the thing is, I find it so sad, because I'm sure there's people out there that would listen to this and go, yeah, but that's my life and I love it. I wouldn't change it. And that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, we're not
there's
saying...
absolutely nothing wrong with that.
We're not saying that it's wrong. We're saying that it's a lot of people who do it that don't enjoy it.
Yeah, and they do it because it's the norm, because it's the standard thing to do. It's the normal, everyday life thing to do.
And it's almost, at this day and age, it's almost a competition about who can do most. I heard it at work before, like now it's many years since I've been at work. But when I used to go to work, like in the lunchroom, it was always like, oh, my kids goes to this many different activities and we don't ever come home before 8 o'clock, and then they just have to throw down a sandwich and go to bed, and then it's school. And it's almost like it's
A badge of honor.
yeah. And it's like, how can that be such a competition, and that it is like, oh, we're the best because we got so much on. Like that, I'm just thinking like that poor kid, because they're like 7, 8 years old. And they get home at 8 o'clock at night, and obviously they leave for school at 6 o'clock in the morning because that's when the parents start work. Like how is that something good?
How does that kid not grow up with like stress issues or anxiety issues because they've been stressed their whole life, sort of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just the thing is that's just the norm. Like there's so many people around our age, you know, early 30s or whatever, that have got almost like a checklist. It's like, okay, now we've got to have a new car. Now we've got to have this job that pays this much. Now we've got to have this new house. And okay, we're about 30 now, so we've got to have a baby. And it's like you just go through the motions of life, not really thinking about what you actually want.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
And I think it was like, I've had this mindset for a long, long time, like long before you were sick and long before whatever, that I don't want to work for somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is that the way that it came to me was that I went from working jobs where I didn't really care about to working a job that was on paper probably my dream job.
Yeah.
I was doing something that I loved doing, editing film, editing videos. I was working for a successful company doing exciting projects. I was working mostly from home in a home studio, and I was miserable. I was like, I hated it. I could not find the motivation to get up and want to do it and have the drive to do it. And it was really sad. It was like, well, what do you do then?
Yeah.
Like on paper, this is great. It's relatively well paid compared to, you know, what I was getting paid before. There's nothing wrong with this job. And I think then I had the proper perspective shift of like, well, I'm only actually happy when I'm working on my own projects, when I'm working on things that I burn for. So like, how can I sort of maneuver it into, you know, making money from it, sort of thing?
Yeah, and I feel like we changed a lot when we had Charlie.
Yeah.
Like that's when we realized like life is not about work.
Yeah.
We've never been about life, been about work.
We've
in
never
that
been
way.
those people, have we? No.
But before that, it felt a lot more like this is what you do. You get up and you go to work, and that's how life works. But after Charlie, it was like, I don't ever want to put him into preschool. That was my thoughts.
That was
like,
from really early on, wasn't it? That you had that, because I think if you hadn't have brought it up, I would have still gone with it, because he was still in the flow of that like normal life. You have a kid, he turns 18 months, he goes to preschool.
Yeah, 18 months if you're lucky.
Yeah. If the kid's lucky, I should say.
Yeah.
But yeah, you from really early on, you had the idea that Charlie wasn't going to go to preschool.
Yeah. And he turns 5 this autumn and he's never put his foot into preschool.
No. Yeah, exactly.
And that's something I'm really proud of.
Yeah.
You can hear a lot of arguments against that, and that they won't learn this or that, or they're not going to be able to socialize, or it's so many things. And I think a lot of it is made up bullshit.
To put it bluntly.
And I'm not saying that our way is the only way.
No.
But I'm saying that all of these arguments for kids that have to go to preschool is a lot of the time something that society has made up because they want the parents to come back to work, because otherwise the society don't go around.
Yeah.
That you don't pay taxes in the same way. You don't earn money for the society if you're on parent leave. But if you leave your kid at preschool, you do pay for preschool. And then you come back and you earn money and you pay taxes on it.
Contributing to society in their way.
Exactly,
sort of
in the right way according to them.
Yeah.
And therefore, it is all of these, they need all this stimulation. You can't stimulate your kid if they're over 1 at home. Well, before they're 3 years old, they don't need any other stimulation than parents.
Yeah.
And yeah, they can play with other kids, but they don't need to go and be left alone. And I say alone without parents for so many hours a week. And there's studies on that. So, but it's still nobody who believes that, because they believe what the society says.
Yeah. It's the hamster wheel, isn't it? It's the
Yeah.
hamster wheel. They want you back on the hamster wheel as soon as possible so that
Exactly.
you're contributing to society in the way that the tax people want you to contribute to society.
Exactly.
And a lot of it is built by them, is built by like government bodies sort of thing, rather than thinking about the child and what's best for the kid and what's best for a family and what's best for these people who grow up to be actual real human beings.
Exactly.
They're seen as like this number on a page that's just like, get them in the system, get them back to work, you know. And yeah, a massive, massive part of this for us was jumping off the hamster wheel, wasn't it? And I think my whole point with all of this, even with the podcast and everything, is that I would love to inspire people to not have to go through cancer, to sort of at least have a thought about it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that everybody should do the things that we've done, because you'd be f***ing insane if you did, to be honest.
Yeah, but it's not about doing what we're doing. It's about doing what you want to do.
Exactly.
That's the thing. Like, we don't think that our way is the only way to live. But we think that a lot of people live a life that they're not happy with, but they don't dare to change it, or they don't even think about changing it, because that's the thing. It might sound really rude, but I think a lot of people don't really think for themselves because we didn't.
No.
Like, you just go on when you're in that wheel, it just keeps going around, and you don't stop for a minute and think that, can we change anything? You just think like, oh, it's a lot going on, but let's just keep going.
Yeah.
And sometimes maybe you need to stop and reflect and be like, is this how we want to do it?
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Definitely. And I think it's so easy to get caught up on the wheel, isn't it? Because it's been 2 years since I've had a new phone, so I need a new phone.
Oh,
so I
God,
need to upgrade my phone contract. Okay, we've been living in this apartment for 5 years. It's time to get a house. We'll get a house with a big mortgage, and and you just go through the motions. And I think it's really sad because a lot of people don't have the realization that we've had until they're in their 50s.
Yeah.
They go, what am I doing? What am I doing? I've done my whole life. I've done this, and what have I got? I've got a lovely house, but I'm not happy.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got a brand new lawnmower and a and a spanking brand new car sat on the driveway, but I'm miserable.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be lovely if the other way was a bit more normalized. If it was normal to think like, what do I want? What's best for my kids? What's best for us as a family?
Yeah.
Rather than, being on the hamster wheel and doing what the tax man wants you to do.
Yeah, exactly. Because in the end of the day, who do you really care about? Your managers or your co-workers, what they're going to think, or your family and your kids?
Who your kids grow up to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who are your kids going to grow up to be? That's the way that I think of it, at
Yeah.
least. What's
They're going
best?
to be maniacs because they've been raised by only us.
Oh, hippies. Yeah. And like we said, our way is not necessarily the right way, but it'd be lovely to inspire people to just think, just take the step to actually think about, like, do I want to be on this hamster wheel?
Yeah. How important is that new phone or new car or all these new clothes or whatever it is that you spend all your money on? Because a lot of the time you do it because society tells you to do it. I feel like that because I used to do a lot of shopping. I loved going shopping, and I was like, I had clothes, like when we moved out, I had clothes that had a tag on it.
Yeah, you did.
That never been worn, that I sold.
Crazy. Yeah.
That had been hanging in my wardrobe for like a year. Maybe it was a bit because I was sick and I didn't end up using clothes in that way. But still, like, did I really think, do I need all of these clothes? Or did I buy stuff because it was like, oh, it's 20% off and maybe you need a new office t-shirt? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because like now, since we moved in here, I bought like one pair of trousers.
Yeah.
And a new bikini.
Yeah, you bought that vest top from Primark, so don't be like that. When we were in Spain, you spent €3 on a new vest top.
Yeah.
Here she is making out that she never gets new things. Completely different. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and it's like, how much do you really need? That's what I'm trying to say. Like, how much do you really need
Yeah.
to be happy? What is it actually the material things that makes you happy, or is it spending time together with the people that you love that makes you happy? Because that's where we are right now.
100%.
I don't care if I'm wearing a brand new brand t-shirt or if I'm wearing a vest top from Primark. As long as I get to spend my days with the people I love.
Yeah, 100%. I've got nothing else to say. End the podcast there. Perfect. So let's just have a little look down our notes. We're talking about mindset, about how it was to move out of the house and into a van. How many of these points do you think we've crossed off this time?
I feel like we've been talking about mindset and not living in a house and not only living in a van, but we have talked about the mindset of changing your life. I think that's the more thing.
Yeah,
the more
that's
thing.
The more thing. That is definitely the more thing. Right. We did probably cross off more points than we normally do.
Maybe. We'll see. I feel like this was very, very, very rambly.
It was a bit of a rambly one, yeah, it was. But some of them are going to be like this, aren't they? Some of them are going to be structured, detailed. We're gonna have 35 bullet points, and we're gonna
probably not.
No, it's not.
I don't know who you're talking about.
And some of them are going to be really rambly, like this one.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been watching with us on YouTube or wherever. The camera setup didn't quite work.
We're still learning.
We're still learning. We've now got a completely different camera setup to when we started because 2 of the cameras died. But there you go. We're still learning, aren't we?
Exactly.
It's only episode 5.
So we're rambling. We can't get the camera angle right. And we probably had nothing important to say this time.
Shocking episode. Absolutely shocking.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you win some, you lose some, don't you?
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, I suppose we should wrap it up there then if we've been rambling for so long.
Yeah. Let's not make it worse.
Let's not make it worse. You dig yourself into a hole, don't you, sometimes?
Exactly. God.
Is what it is, mate. Embrace it. That's life. Life on a stick.
Yeah, exactly.
So thanks very much. If you've made it to the end of this episode, there is a gold medal in the post for you.
Yeah.
It's on its way.
Yeah.
You've done well, bless you. You're a trooper. But if you have made it through this far, make sure you drop us a follow on Spotify,
please,
or on Apple Podcasts or on YouTube or wherever you are. And do us a massive favour and go in on Apple Podcasts and leave us a review.
Oh, yeah, please do that.
If you leave us a 5-star review, it'll mean the absolute world to us. We would massively appreciate it. Obviously, we're only just starting out. That's why some episodes are a bit rambly and a bit, we're learning.
Yeah.
We're not seasoned podcasters yet, are we?
No. And we're not in a studio.
And we're not in a studio, as I've said 5 times per episode so far. But yeah, it's massively appreciated.
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening.
Yeah. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.